हरे कृष्णा। मैं नवनीत व्यास एस्ट्रो चैनल में आप लोगों का फिर से बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता हूं। एंड टुडे अगेन आई एम विद माय रुद्रा वैदिक एकेडमी टीम और आज हम मंथन करेंगे ऑन राहु एंड केतु ट्रांजिट इन एरीज एंड लीब्रा. So this will be a long video, and we've got Nandita ji from US. We've got Dr. Pooja from Mumbai. We've got Siddharth ji from Mumbai and Raju ji from Mauritius. These are gems of my Rudra Vedic Academy, and it will be a manthan on which I'll be giving you, my observation and analysis based on my experience and the blessings of my gurus on various houses and various rashis and various lagnas. And then my team, Nandita ji, Raju ji, Siddharth ji, Pooja ji, have prepared a lot of their own experience and observations on this transit on various planets, so which will be really helpful to you. So do watch this video till the end, and in the end we'll also be giving a magical remedy for this transit. All right, so we can begin. And I like the whiteboard the most, so what I'll do is I'll share my screen and bring you a whiteboard right in front of you, and we'll start. So Rahu and Ketu, ladies and gentlemen, right? So what happens with this Rahu and Ketu is something very interesting, and this is one of the most important transits, right, beside Jupiter and Saturn, because these three transits are considered very important. And as you know, जो कलयुग है हमारा, ये राहु और केतु प्रधान युग है, और यहाँ पर राहु और केतु का ट्रांजिट बहुत बड़ी चेंजेस लेकर आता है. So what we'll do is, first I'll give you a small introduction of what I think about Rahu and Ketu, because Rahu and Ketu have the capability to even make Surya and Chandra weak, right? So that's where this power is revealed, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, Rahu and Ketu, I just consider them to be push and a pull. Okay, so what is the exact meaning of push and what is the exact meaning of a pull, right? What happens is, suppose this is the Mother Earth, this is the earth where you live, and this is where you are. Okay, now the ultimate goal of a human is the moksha, to go away from all this nonsense thing that we see every day, that competition, that problems, and deceptiveness and tension and turmoil and financial problems from children, husband, everything. So life is all about problems, and it is because of our prarabdha karmas we are settling down the karmas here. Ab hota kya hai? Now what happens is, there is an entity, there is an energy called Rahu, right? Rahu is something which is unfulfilled desires that we really want to accomplish. So whenever there's an unfulfilled desire, what happens? You are pushed towards the Mother Earth. So Rahu becomes a push. That is always pushing you. Wherever Rahu sits in your kundli, he's going to push you in that house. Simple, right? People say, it is about expansion, it is about catalyst, it's about enhancing the energy. But what is the meaning of enhancing the energy? The meaning is, it is giving you a push, right? It is throwing you in that war zone, right? That's what Rahu does. And he watches you. He watches you. How do you react? How do you perform? Do you become deceptive, right? Or do you become unbeatable? He sees that, and he also gives you that energy from your past life karmas, that what kind of karmas have you done. So if you've done bad karmas, if you've been very deceptive, he will teach you the lesson, right? He'll tell you that this is how you face deception, this is how you face illusion. That's what Rahu does here. And then Ketu is on the other side. Ketu says, hey, come on, come get out of this, move out of this. This is not you. I mean, you have a bigger target. Just pull yourself out. He's pulling you away from the earth, called moksha. That's what Rahu, that's what Ketu is doing. So this is a push and this is a pull. So in whichever Rashi Rahu and Ketu is going to transit for you, you will feel that push and pull. Okay. So if it is Rahu, suppose sitting in the sixth house, which is making you a winner, right? But then Ketu will realize you that what is this win all about? Are you really satisfied after defeating your enemies? When it was the same question was asked to Arjuna, that we won the war of Mahabharata, right? Are the Pandavas really satisfied? Did they really want to rule that for which they won everything? So this Rahu and Ketu transit will realize you that at times you'll be so competitive to win things in life, and then Ketu will give you a message that it's worth nothing, right? There's no competition. So that's where the problem is with this axis of Rahu and Ketu. So you have to understand that what are you? Are you more focused towards Rahu, right? Or are you more focused towards Ketu, right? Are you a person who needs everything quickly, or are you a person who wants to let everything go and just try to feel liberated, try to feel brave? That's what Ketu wants you to do. So what I'll do is, in this transit, so this is my introduction about Rahu and Ketu, is what I'll do is I'll make a chart, I'll make a kundli, and then there are several questions, that ये Rahu Ketu का transit कहाँ से देखना चाहिए? Should it be seen from the Lagna? Should it be seen from the Rashi? Right? So as you know, that Rahu and Ketu are the north node and the south node of the Chandra, right? It is very, very important that every transit should be considered from the Chandra. That's the ground rule. But on the same time, there are two manifestations that are always happening in our life. Always. The first manifestation is at the mental level, and the second manifestation is at the physical level, right? So for physical manifestations, we see these transits from the Lagna, right? And for mental manifestation, we see these transits from the moon, right? So these transits will affect your mind, right? How it is affecting your mindset, and that is what is more important than physical manifestation, ladies and gentlemen, because these grahas, these planets, work on the mind. From the mind, you take a good or a bad decision, and then it follows in the physical manifestation, right? So that is how it is. So the first priority is always given, for the transits, looking at from the Chandra, from the moon. And then definitely we should never forget to look at this transit from the ascendant as well. There's another technique which is used to understand, out of looking from this transit from the Lagna and the moon, which is more important in your kundli. So although I've said this is at the physical level, physical manifestation. When I say physical manifestation, how things are happening practically in front of you, around you, right? And this is mental, this is all mind level, this is, mental manifestation. So this is happening at the mind level. So we'll have to understand, we'll have to check the degree. So there is something called ASC, which is written in your first house, or something called LAG, Lagna. You have to find out the degree of that particular, so suppose it is 8 degrees here, and then you have to look at the degree of your moon, right? Suppose it is 6 degree. So planet or the entity that holds the lower degree, that becomes more powerful. Okay. So, I mean, if you have moon as a lower degree than your ascendant, okay, then you should see this transit from the moon. It gives more, weightage. The weightage is higher on the moon side. But if it is vice versa, suppose your ascendant is at 10 degree and your moon is at 16 degrees, so you should definitely consider the transit from the ascendant as well. This is going to have, more weightage than looking from the moon. So this is one of the techniques that you should apply. Now, on the same time, we will have to cover uh, when the transit is happening. You guys all know it. There are a lot of videos on YouTube. It's all shouting everywhere, right? This is the transit, this is happening, that is happening, So what I'll do is I'll do it in a very different and a very unique way. So what is the unique way? What is the different way that we'll try and do it here? So I'm going to make a kundli and tell you how unique, how different we are going to do it. So let me make a small chart here. And because we are going to cover all the, rashis and lagnas. So the uniqueness is going to come while making two columns here. What I'll do is, the two columns will be the positive and the negative of each, rashi and, each lagna. Okay, so let me write down a plus here, right, and a minus here. So I will say positive. What are the positive? Because every transit have some positive and every transit have some negative. So what people are doing is they are just telling you, their own statements. So what happens with that is you're never able to figure out that what is positive for me in this transit and what is negative for me. So if we bifurcate this thing, that this is okay, this is positive, at times while listening to someone, you always feel that everything is negative in this transit, but no, there's no transit which is without a positivity. There are positives. So what we'll do here is we'll just segregate, we'll divide these things into the positive and the negative. So it is happening on 12th of April 2022. It is going to remain till 30th of October 2023, 18 months long period. In April, there are many other transits are all happening. For example, 13 April, Jupiter is also transiting, and 29th April, Saturn is also transiting into a newer sign, So April is a month of lot of happenings, and we will be covering the Jupiter and the Saturn transit also in coming weeks, so that you can get insights on these particular things as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, looking at the positives and the negatives, starting from, so this transit is happening in the Aries and the Libra. So Rahu is going to enter here presently. It is in Kritika, so it will move in the Kritika, then Bharni and the Ashwini nakshatras, and Ketu is here in the Libra. Now you have to understand one thing, ladies and gentlemen, right? These transits are also based on your current Mahadasha, right? Please do not go by these statements that I'm going to give you. You can always take inputs, okay? If you completely go by the statements that I'm going to give you, it is going to be a mistake, right? Because you have your own Mahadashas running. There are favorable dashas, there are unfavorable dashas. You have, bhavavasthas, right? Bhavavastha means you have, planets already sitting in Aries, in your natal chart. There are planets who will be giving a drishti on Aries through various drishtis while transiting, right? Because since Saturn is going to be there in the Aquarius, Saturn is going to have some influence on Rahu. So it is very important to understand that where is your Saturn, right, in your kundli? It is powerful, it is not powerful, it is in a good position, it is in a bad position, your Mahadasha. Along with that, you also have to consider the natal position of Rahu and Ketu. Is this transit happening 6th, 8th, and 12th from your Rahu and Ketu? Even that is very, very important. That has to be considered. Because if it is happening from 6th, 8th, and 12th, definitely, no matter how good the position is of Rahu and Ketu, while transiting, still there will be challenges. There will be problems, hidden, agendas and hidden surprises will come, in front of you. So that is another thing. We'll also have to check whether it is happening on your natal Jupiter, Mars, Venus, Sun, because Nandita ji is going to take that, right? And she's done a lot of hard work. She's one of the most passionate and most lovable team member of Rudra Vedic Academy, and I'm so proud of her. She'll be covering those things as well. She'll be taking the last 20-30 minutes of this video. So do watch that, because that is going to be very important, where you have different planets. And Raju ji and Pooja ji and Siddharth ji has also done their own research, which I adore. Okay, so starting from Aries, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what is Aries and what is Libra? Prior to that, we'll see it from where, you've got to see it from both, right? Ascendant as well as Lagna, and that principle that I've told, ascendant as well as the Rashi, I'm sorry. So Rashi is nothing but the moon sign, okay? Wherever your moon is called the Rashi, right? जहां पर आपके चंद्र बैठे हैं वो आपकी राशि है, और ascendant तो आपको सबको पता ही है. So if you have Chandra Rashi, you have moon written here, or you have ascendant written here, so this Rahu and Ketu transit is going to happen in the first and the seventh house. Okay, so first and the seventh house, what will Rahu do in the first house? First thing first, let me write the positive. So let me write down Aries here. Okay, so very clear explanation. Okay, so I'm going to write, I will keep on rubbing and changing from Aries to Taurus, right? Everything will happen. So for Aries, right, Rahu and Ketu, positivities, right? What we'll take inputs from Rahu and we'll take inputs from Ketu. Something positive will happen. What is the first positive thing that Rahu will do here? Ladies and gentlemen, it is going to make you super intelligent, right? For these 18 months, you will become very, very intelligent. There's no doubt about it, right? Super intelligent about everything that you do in your life, everything, right? You'll be calculative, you'll be intelligent, you'll be everything, right? And it will help you realize your individuality. You know what happens is, कभी कभी क्या होता है कि आप ग्रुप में अपने आप को कभी कभी हाईलाइट ही नहीं कर पाते हो, आपको कभी रिकॉग्निशन ही नहीं मिलती है, राइट? बट दिस टाइम यू विल स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन योरसेल्फ, राइट? व्हिच इज in a way a good idea for self improvement, but the negativity is that you may leave your team behind, right? So वो जो टीम वर्क होता है उसके अंदर एक हिट आ सकता है, जिसमें हमेशा आप कहते हैं मैं, this is me, I'm doing this, I will do that, right? So what happens is, with this मैं, there are strong chances to get carried away. अहंकार, राइट? जो एक अहंकार अंदर आ जाता है कभी कभी कि मैं ये भी कर सकता हूँ, मैं वो भी कर सकता हूँ, आई कैन डू बिगर थिंग्स इन माई लाइफ, आई एम समथिंग, आई एम मोर इम्पोर्टेंट देन माई लाइफ पार्टनर. So this is 1, this is 0. So what happens with this is you can overpower, this is a negative thing, overpower your partners, right? आप overpower करने की कोशिश करोगे अपने partners को, which is in a way a bad thing, but if you take it positive, then you will become possessive. Okay, so you will become little possessive about your life partner, right? That is the positive thing. So if your life partner was saying that, hey, my husband is not possessive about me at all, you will see him getting possessive about you. You will see him getting more demanding from you, because when you stop demand from your life partner, that means you're not loving him or her. When you keep demanding things from your life partner, that means you're loving him, right? जब भी आपका husband या आपकी wife आपसे demands खत्म कर दें, that means there is something bad, there's something wrong, right? छोटी छोटी demands होनी ही चाहिए एक रिश्ते के बीच में. That is very, very important. Rahu in the first house, can help you develop your calculations, that it can help you to start new things, because Rahu is always that wants new things, more things to come, right? This is a great transit if you want to work on yourself, if you have any idea that requires a recognition, this is the time, right? You will start doing things in a very different way, right? But on the same time, there's a negative thing that can come is that you can cheat yourself, right? Rahu is also deceptive, right? So there may be some decisions in your life where you feel that you did wrong, you got carried away. But on the same time, Ketu in the seventh house will make you brave for the partnerships, right? Ketu in the seventh house will liberate you from any wrong partnerships you were into. Suppose there was a partner who was destroying you from last 10 years. Now you will take a stand against him and said, hey, this is done. I cannot take this forward. It is over for me. So this is a positive thing. But the negative aspect of this is that it can break partnerships. This can, break partnerships. So suppose you are in a married life where you were in trouble from last 10 years or 8 years. This is a time when you will take a decision. You'll take a call that everything is over. I cannot take this anymore, right? I am now very brave about my business, which is seventh house, is again the business in the Kalpurush Kundli. It is your daily routine, it is your partnership, it is your association. So you can only become brave in an association if you are headless. Okay, whenever you keep thinking about your mind, no, your brain is working, you are not brave. Your brain never asks you to break anything, or detach from anything. It's your mind. Okay, the mind is one. So that is the push, which Rahu is giving you in the first house, that he's pushing you to develop yourself, to get recognition, to become intelligent, to become strong, right? To become more demanding from yourself, right? But on the same time, Ketu is just pulling you away from partnerships, from some sort of associations that you were into for a long time. Ketu has now realized it's not worth, it's over, right? Because if you are into, suppose you're in a divorce case from almost maybe 3 years or 4 years, right? Somehow some new things were coming up, some court dates were just going forward and forward and forward. This time, the moment Ketu enters the Libra, right, the decision will be on the cards. You will be free. Ketu will pull you, away, from this seventh house of association. So, in a way, it is good that you'll be liberated. You'll have better opportunities coming. You may marry again. You may find yourself again, right? Because when you're in a bad marriage, first thing that happens to you is you lose yourself. You lose your identity. You're always into a turmoil, So this is the time when you will get your own identity. That is the most important thing. That's the most beautiful thing about this transit, right? On the same time, Ketu will give you a lot of spirituality in the business, right? Because seventh house is also business. Seventh house is also daily routine, right? Sixth and seventh house, the income that comes, right? So here you will be more spiritually enhanced. You will give away a lot of money in charity also. So whatever money comes to you, suppose if you earn 100 rupees, this Ketu transiting in the seventh house will make you donate 10, 20 rupees, right? Because Ketu is actually pulling you away from your daily income. Daily income is the seventh house, 100 rupees that you earn every day, or 500 rupees that you earn every day, or 5 lakh rupees or 5 crores that you earn every day. Ketu is going to pull you away. So when it's going to pull you away, it is going to put you in the charities. It's going to give you that, hey, okay, donate every day. So you used to donate after every 1 month. Now it is time to donate every single day. So that is going to happen. So it is considered. So now you see where is the positive. So my suggestion will be, if you have Rahu coming in the Lagna, do not get carried away. Simple. This is a suggestion, because you are going to think that you are the Indra of this world, right? You're nobody is better than you, right? So you have to be, your arrogance should go down, right? A little bit, because if you become arrogant, you'll get into some conversations that will be not good for you. Okay, so that's for the Aries ascendant or Aries Rashi. Okay, so that's something you should remember. Now we will move on to the next sign, which is the Taurus. Okay, so I hope you are enjoying this because we are doing it all the positives and the negatives one by one, right? So this is giving better clarity to our viewers. Okay, so we have here is the Taurus. 2 नंबर अगर हम यहाँ पर लिख देते हैं लगन में, या 2 नंबर को हम राशि बनाते हैं, लगन में लेकर आते हैं मून साइन को. So for Taurus, this transit is going to happen where? Okay, it is going to happen here in the 12th and in the 6th house. Okay, for the Taurus. Now for the Taurus, I must tell you that this is a great positive thing to enhance your hidden talents, right? Something that you were hiding, that creativity that you were hiding for long time, right? Rahu is gonna make you work on it. Rahu is, is going to push you for self investment. Okay, now you will self invest yourself, right? You will be out of your comfort zone, and suddenly you want to do something bigger. Certainly you want to invest something, right? Because whenever you invest, you lose some chunk of money. So in a way, people will say, oh, this is losses. But what is losses? There's nothing called losses. जितनी भी जो हानि है, जो एक लॉस होता है, लाभ है, लाभ और हानि जो है वो विधि हाथ है, राइट? तो यहाँ पर वो राहु दिखाता है. राहु क्या करेगा? आपको आपके टैलेंट्स, आपके हिडन टैलेंट्स जो हैं, आपकी क्रिएटिविटी जो हिडन थी, जो 5th हाउस में नहीं थी, जो दिखती है लोगों को, एक डिफरेंट लेवल की इमेजिनेशन, इंट्यूशन, राइट, एक कॉन्सेप्ट बिल्डिंग, उसको बाहर लेकर आएगा. You are going to create concepts for yourself, which is a great thing, which is not a bad thing at all, right? But on the same time, you can get carried away, for your shopping, for your purchase, for your expenses, क्योंकि ये व्यय का घर है, यहाँ पर खर्चा होगा. और राहु, आपको पता है, वो बहुत डिमांडिंग है, right? So suddenly Rahu would want to spend money right here. You got to be conscious with your spending. You got to be conscious with your sexual, pleasures, because Rahu here in the 12th house can, motivate you for, having more enjoyment in blood pleasure. So you can deceive your partner. You can move on to some other partner with this transit, which is happening here. So be very, very careful when it comes to, sexual relationships, right? So you got to be careful. This is, something not, which is not recommended. You got to be careful here, because of which you can feel deceived, right? Or you may deceive others. Both the way this could happen. On the same time, this can also take you to foreign lands, because the 12th house of foreign lands is active, and it will give you struggles there. It is going to give you a lot of hard work, a lot of, lot of efforts you will have to put right here. So technically, you got to be conscious with your spendings and loss of money, and for no reason. I mean, you had a home, everything was fine. Suddenly you thought, okay, let me buy a home somewhere in a different land, different somewhere. You went there, you purchased it. Now suddenly the business crisis came. You invested in marriage also, you invested on your girlfriends also, you lost your money. And that's what Rahu can do. On the same time, Ketu in the 6th house is going to make you run away from these situations, right? Because Ketu in the 6th house is a pull. Okay, so what is 6th house? Suppose if you have a health problem, you are going to ignore it, right? Because Ketu is taking you away. You are not even looking at your problem, right? If you have stomach ache from maybe from past 3 months, you are ignoring it. You're thinking that, okay, it will go by its own. That is where the problem is, right? Ketu can make you run away from your enemies, from competition. You don't want to compete anymore, because of this Ketu's position. You see, at times to relax yourself, this is a great position for Ketu, right? That you are no more in the competition, you are working on yourself, you're enjoying your life, you become very spiritual in your daily routine, right? You become, very, very religious in your daily routine. That is fine. But running away from debts, running away from enemies, so running away from debts is good thing, but running away from enemies is not a good thing. Running away from competition is not a it's not a very good thing. So one should think carefully about this particular situation, that Ketu can give you diseases here. Ketu can give you, and that diseases are only because you were ignoring things from the long time. Right? Do not ignore. Do not ignore. Okay. So this is how you look at the Taurus. So let me move ahead and let me go to the Gemini. Okay, so let me rub this, right? So it will take another 3 minutes to 2 minutes for everyone. Within 25-30 minutes, I will be done, right? And so that I can make a strong base for my team members. So Rahu is going to be here and Ketu is going to be here. It is in the 11th house and the 5th house. Positive gains. Yes, Rahu will give you gains here. There's no doubt about it. Rahu wants to give you money, right? But negative is that you will spoil your reputation in the society, right? Society will think that you are a selfish and very, very self-demanding, person. Suddenly you will become extremely self-demanding. Suddenly you will become, right? Okay, I'm all over the Facebook, I'm all over the YouTube, I'm all over the Insta. But then, when you are all over these things, you also have haters, right? A lot of people will hate you for your good work, right? But then those ups and downs will be there. You will be pushed towards getting into stocks, right? You want to earn through speculative gains, speculative income. What will happen is, if the 11th lord or the bhavavastha or the bhavesh of the 11th house is not well placed, you will get into losses. Please think 10 times before spending the money into stocks, because Rahu here will prompt you, right? That, hey, look, let's invest. I'm getting money. I've got money from this source, that source. Let me put some money there. Now you got another lot of profit. So you invested 10 lakhs, you got 20 lakhs. You said, wow, this is the dasha I was waiting for. Then you 20 plus 20 more you spent, you invested, and you lost 70. And then you're sitting, what happened? I lost everything. Right? So this is actually, the gain was only 10 lakhs, but then you lost 60 lakhs, right? This is something that happens with, if the dispositor or the graha drishti or the rashi drishti on the Rahu is not good, right? Then you are in trouble. However, this Rahu can also create problems with your elder siblings, right? For an example, if you have your elder brother, sister, there could be some property conflicts, right? Conflicts that are related to parental property, right? Usme conflict aa sakta hai. There could be legal things that can come. So you've got to be careful. In a way, it is positive. Suppose if there was a property, which was prolonging. You were 2-3 brothers, sisters, and you were fighting over it. So that fight can come to an end. That can come to a conclusion. You'll get your chunk of money. They'll get their, part of money, and you will be, back to your home. So that is what can happen. But Ketu in the 5th house, what will Ketu do? So Ketu will restrict you. What will happen is relationship problem, right? Ketu here can give you a breakup, right? Ketu can give you, be very careful. If you are in a situation where you are not doing well with your girlfriend or with your wife or someone you love, hey, it is a problematic situation. You can break up because Ketu is going to take you further away further away from love, romance, and children, right? Ketu, suppose you were planning that, okay, we'll have child in 2023 in the beginning. Suddenly, with this transit, you would want to postpone it for another 1.5 years. You would say, no, I think we are not mentally prepared. I think we should postpone it for another, another 1.5 or 2 years, something like that, where your creativity, your relationship, your children, right, you will be pulled away from that, right? That mindset will be there, right? However, it is a great time to gain, whatever plans you were having. If you take those plans slowly ahead, this transit is going to give you gains, right? But be careful. Do not sign papers without looking at them. Do not trust your siblings. We are in Kali Yuga, right? The elder siblings may make you sign something, and then you realize that you've lost all the property, everything is gone from you. So be very, very, very careful. Hopes, wishes, desires are going to increase to a level, which is a good thing. If you are in Kali Yuga, if you live on hopes, you have a lot of wishes, a lot of desires, right? You may give a lot of facilities to your family. But Ketu, again, you got a lot of gains, but no one is there to enjoy. So you don't have children, they are far away, your relationship has gone for a 6. So all these problems will be there. So this is the positive and the negative about the Gemini, you know, rising or Gemini Rashi. Okay, 3 number. Okay, now we'll move on to Kark Rashi. If your moon is in the Karka, right, and or if you have your ascendant as a Karka, this is where your Rahu is going to transit and Ketu is going to transit here. Okay, all right, all right. So this is Ketu and this is Rahu. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a great transit for your work. Okay, because I have seen whenever you have Rahu in the 10th house, transiting in the 10th house, your momentum is always towards the work because you lose your charm at the 4th house, right? So what happens is you come out of the comfort zone. Suddenly you will realize that you have more workload, right? Suddenly, you were in an easy thing. You were getting up at 7 in the morning, 8 o'clock. You were in your office. You were working till 9 o'clock and you were coming back. You had your dinner. You were on sleep. But now you have to get up at 5 in the morning. Suddenly some more responsibilities are on you. और इसका effect 3 महीने पहले ही शुरू हो जाता है. You will realizing it, right? So you will, get up more. So you were getting up 7. Now you're getting up at 4. So maybe at 3 o'clock, in the worst cases, right? And you are not finishing your work up till 11 in the night. You are busy, right? So work stress will increase. So when work stress will increase, it will not keep you free, right? And also Rahu here in the 10th house will make you more demanding, right? It would want you to work more, to have more associations, to have more connections, to expand business. You'll keep thinking, okay, I've done this thing. Let me try something new. Let me work on something new, right? For an example, if maybe I'm a marketing head. So I would certainly want to now, learn about, data, analysis also, or business analysis also. So something new, additional you would want to do. You will think, okay, this is my source of income. I'll have another one now. I'll get into another. So that expansion that Rahu is giving you here in the 10th house. But on the same time, Ketu will make you brave, at your home. So when you become brave at your home, you are no longer in the comfort zone, right? You are no longer emotionally attached with the 4th house. So you may take some bold decisions about your family. For an example, if there is a separation happening, or for an example, if there is a what do you call dividation which is happening, you will become extremely strong about it. You will stand, and you stand like a Chandi. You'll stand like Ma Durga, that okay, this is what I want and this will happen. Okay, this is his part, this is our part. No more interference. I need my part, you need yours. Take and go. So that dividation, Ketu has this capability to do it. Going to foreign lands, is another thing on the cards for these 18 months. You can have a trip to the foreign lands for sure. There is no doubt about it, because Ketu will pull you away from the motherland for some time, for sure. You need to take care of your mother, right? Because Ketu is now on the fourth house, right? Absolutely, you have to be very focused on the health of your mother. You can start a business with your father or any fatherly figure, right? Or even with the gurus, you can start some association and you can start working. So in a way, it is good, right, for business, but it is bad that it will take you away from the comforts, right? Now we will move on to, okay, let me find the eraser first. Now we are into which? Leo. Okay, so you got Leo here, 5. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is here. Okay, and it is going to be here. So Rahu is going to be in the 9th house and Ketu is going to be in the 3rd house. Not a good transit. It has more negatives than the positives, right? Rahu is going to transit in the on the Maran Karan Sthana. It's the 9th house. But then again, you have to realize one thing is that please do not get into any dispute with your gurus, right? With your fatherly figures, with your teachers, right? Because if you are going to get into any dispute with your gurus or fatherly figures, you are going to make a huge karma, right? That karma you will not be able to settle for long years. This is what Rahu does. When you become more demanding from your gurus, when you become more demanding from father, from teacher, right? That is where Rahu energy is fulfilled. But if you are more giving towards your guru, more giving towards your teacher, your father, right? The energy of Rahu will bless you, right? That's where you have to significantly think about it. Long distance travels will be there, but they may not be very fruitful, right? It will Rahu will encourage you for illusionary visits. Okay, you thought that you'll go in a country, you thought that in that country business will come. It is not going to come, but your travel was wasted. So you wasted 20 days or 40 days, or maybe 100 days you went for a travel like an Alexander, and then you got nothing. Okay, so that is where you really need to take care. Suddenly you were very spiritual. Now your spirituality is speculative. It's highs and lows, right? I mean, you were going to the temple from last 100 days or 200 days or 300 days, a year, right? But now suddenly you'll realize, oh my God, right? I'm not called at the temple. भगवान मुझे बुला ही नहीं रहे हैं मंदिर में, right? Your spirituality is gone for a 6. It is ups and downs, ups and downs. But on the same time, Ketu in the 3rd house, right? It will take you away from siblings, right? Got to be very careful. It will take you away from your prakram, your ability, to do something in life. That you will say, no, I'm done. I think I need more relaxing life. You will start, you know, you will feel introvert. People will say, you were talking so much, and now I see this person is not talking. Neither the written communication nor the verbal communication from last 1 year. So this is what will happen in this particular transit. Your communication will be hit. It will take a major hit. So that is another drawback. One positive thing that I would feel here is that you will also become very clear about your new initiative. Suppose you were trying for a startup, you were trying for a new initiative. Ketu will give you strength to say no to your concept. Okay, because at times there are a lot of concepts that we make in our mind, and then they are not good. Ketu will liberate you from that illusionary, startup, that I will do this, then I will earn million things, and this will happen. These startups are always seen from the third house, entrepreneurship, startups. So Ketu will give you energy and strength to figure out whether that startup is good or bad, right? So that is something very, very important that you must keep in mind. So we can go to, if you are having the Virgo as your Rashi, or Virgo as your Lagna. So it is going to happen somewhere here. So Rahu is going to be here, and Ketu is going to be here in the 6th and the 2nd house. Ladies and gentlemen, something hidden, something unbelievable. It is a great chance if the Bhavavastha of the Ashtam Bhava is good. If the Bhavavastha or the Bhavesh, or you have good, drishtis, this is the time when you can even win a lottery, right? So this is a great time. Chunk of money can come from nowhere if your karmas are good and Rahu is well placed in your natal chart, right? Another thing that can happen is, please, negative thing, do not believe on some of your friends or your relatives and give away money. Don't do that, right? You have to be very, very, all those secret things you do. For an example, your wife doesn't know that you have given maybe 1 crore rupees to your friend, right? Then he said that he promised you to return within 3 months. Now it is 3 years and he's not returning, right? So that situations will come. Do not get carried away and give money, to your friends, or do not invest secretly. Sometimes person invest very secretly. Nobody see 8th houses, which is not seen by this world, and you are investing secretly, right? आराम से चुपचाप जाके एक plot ले आए, and then you realize plot was conflicted, a flat was conflicted, the project ran away, so don't do that. Don't give money to your friends just like this, and then later on you suffer, right? That is, be very careful with your relationship with your in-laws, your extended family. You can have disputes, you can have problems, right? There can be deception from both the sides. On the same time, Ketu will take you away from your relatives. Ketu will take you away from your fixed assets. For these 18 months, you don't want to make any fixed asset, right? For 18 months, your taste buds will be gone, right? You will not like anything to eat, So that is what Ketu will do in the 2nd house. It is very, very strange transit. There will be a strange kind of transformation that will happen, So your tastes are gone, you are hiddenly working, right? But on the same time, if Ketu and Rahu are well placed in your chart, there are chances of a surprise gain, right? Suddenly a lottery comes to you and you feel, wow, this is, and then when you get a lot of money, at times your hopes, wishes and desires are gone, said that you feel some, contentness. So that is also happen. That will also happen. Okay. It's a mixed kind of a transit, not so good, not so bad. Okay. We can move on to the Libra now. Okay. For Libra, okay, so this is happening here. So it is Ketu here and Rahu here. First thing, it is going to make you brave. Okay, so you will become brave. You will not take care of your feelings, rather than you will start thinking more about your life partner, about your partnerships, right? You'll be more focused towards your partnerships, right? On the same time, please stay away from any fake associations, right? There may be any fake or illusionary associations, temporary associations will come in your life and you may get losses from that, right? Be very, very careful, right? On the same time, Ketu in the Lagna will make you more spiritual. Ketu in the Lagna will make you more focused towards inner self, going within yourself. You will mellow down, You will become grounded. That's what Ketu will do in the Lagna. That's the beauty of this transit in the Libra. But on the same time, you have to be careful with your business, right? There may be some, you know, uh, kind of opportunities that you will get, where you will be ditched later on. You got to put your brain into any opportunity, any business opportunity that you're getting. On the same time, right, Rahu will make you give more expectation towards your life partner. You'll start expecting more. You want more from your life partner and any other partnership, which is not a good idea, because that can eventually break the partnership. So you've got to be very careful. But one thing is for sure, this is going to mellow you down. This is going to give you bravery about yourself. This is going to make you sit in an isolated place and talk to yourself, that what are my positives and negatives, what are my weaknesses and strengths. So to understand your weaknesses and your strengths, this is seriously a great transit. Okay, this is mine transit now, which is Scorpio, right? So Scorpio Chandra. What will happen to the Scorpio Chandra? So Ketu is going to be here in the 12th house, and Rahu is going to be here in the 6th house. Honestly speaking, this is one of the best positions of Rahu and Ketu, right? One of the best positions, because Rahu here in the 6th house is undefeatable, right? Rog, shok, karja, rin, bimari, shatru, litigations. Rahu is going to win, right? Any competition, you bring any competition, you are not a loser. You are going to win over your competitors. Your competitors will, हाथ खड़े कर देंगे आपके आगे कि no, this person is unstoppable. You can't stop him for next 18 months, right? I mean, it is like firing 500 bullets in a minute. You'll become like an LMG, right? So you will be, all your enemies and legalities will be just looking at what kind of a person you have become in these 18 months, right? That is for sure. So your enemies and competitors will nowhere stand, in front of you. So that can bring some arrogance. So you got to mellow down with your arrogance as well, right? Should not get carried away. If God is giving you that strength to win over your enemies, right? On the same time, when you will win, when you have 14 hours of working, research, development, and working, and gains and money, and having no rest, at night, 2 o'clock in the night, Ketu will ask you a question. Is it worth it that you're doing? Right? Do you really want to do that? Because Ketu is going to isolate you here. Ketu is in the house of isolation. Sone pe suhaga, right? कि already 12वें घर में isolation है, वहां पे आप केतु को बिठा दो, right? Ketu is getting 100% directional strength here. Ketu say, wow, maza aa gaya. So suddenly self-realization will come. Spirituality will increase. Your shadripus will go away. Suppose, you're in the 6th house, you had any shadripu. Shadripu is your weaknesses, kam, krodh, lobh, moh, ahankar. All these things, Rahu will wipe it off. Suddenly you will realize that you've become more organized for your food habits, for your gymming routine, everything will enhance. You will stop eating meatha. All these things will come with Rahu in the 6th house. And Ketu is going to give highest level of spirituality. Highest level of spirituality. Just like in Libra, I forgot to tell one thing. In Libra, there are strong chances, and in Aries also there are strong chances of Kundalini Jagran, right? But here, with this Rahu in the 6th house and Ketu in the 12th house, you will become, or you will reach to a next level in meditation, in dhyana, because Ketu will make you wake up at 3 in the night and will push you or pull you to do meditation for 1 hour and then go back to sleep. That's what Ketu is going to do with you, and it is not at all a bad transit. But yes, for finances, you got to be a little bit careful, right? It is very important that you manage your finances and do not make any bigger investments. Do not buy any bigger houses or cars, in this particular, transit, for a simple reason that Ketu in the 12th house of, of VI, of expenses, is going to make you headless, right? You will be, if you want to purchase something, you will not purchase with the sense. You'll just go for it and purchase it, which is never a good idea, right? You've got to be careful with that. Okay, so we can move on to Sagittarius. We've got just 4 more left, and another 5 minutes, it will be over. So we have Sagittarius coming here. Okay, for Sagittarius, what is going to happen? Come on. So Sagittarius is, we've got, we've got 8 and 7. We've got Ketu here, and then we've got Rahu here. Okay, so this is how it is going to happen for Sagittarius. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would consider this to be not a very good transit, right? To be very honest, although it has some positives. Positives that it will help you, self-discover. Your skills will be improved. Rahu will help you to improve your skills, right? Rahu will help you to get into into relationships. Rahu will also help you to give innovation. Rahu in the 5th house give a lot of innovation, right? But on the same time, when it comes to gain and gaining from that skill, Ketu is going to restrict you. Ketu is going to cut you off from public relations. Ketu is going to make you inactive on social media, right? But if you are in a business where you should have a presence in the social media, well, it is a problem, right? Then Ketu is going to detach you from there. Ketu is going to stop your gains, right? But on the same time, Rahu will develop your skill. See, when your gains are stopped, you develop your skill. When you are gaining, when you're earning so much, you don't develop your skill because you're just going with the flow. You're always, learning when you are free. When you are not getting money, you have time for yourself. You have time to develop your skills. This is what is going to happen. This is the positive thing. Your lot of self-development is going to happen. Trust me, you will be a different person in 18 months. You may not have a lot of money coming in, but you'll have a lot of skill coming in. That is for sure. Okay. All right. So we will move on to Capricorn. Okay. So let's see what happens with the Capricorn. So अगर आपका 10 नंबर लगन है या 10 नंबर आपकी राशि है, so it is going to be, here and here. So we have, Rahu is coming here and Ketu is coming here. All right. So what will happen here? This is a very brave position of Ketu. Anything you were looking for, suppose, you were looking for that one day I'll become an artist. I'll start painting. I'm in a corporate job. There is a switch immediately. You were working in a corporate job. Now you want to be an astrologer. Suddenly you're quit. This is what happened to me, long back, right? When this transit happened in the Aries, I quit everything and I just went for my dreams. मुझे ये करना है, मैं अपना इतना अच्छा कॉर्पोरेट जॉब छोड़कर मैं छोटा सा बिजनेस स्टार्ट करूंगा अपना, and you will grow in that business. You will become super brave in your profession. You would really want to make a difference now. You are sick and tired of a job from 15 years. You will just quit that job and you'll follow your heart, you'll follow your dream. That's what is going to happen. And for that, if you have to go to foreign lands, right, you will go. And one thing is for sure, you will become very emotional for your family. You will become very emotional for your mother. You will become very emotional for your motherland and motherly figures You become very emotional for your assets, home, comfort, cars, all these things will also come. Suddenly you were a corporate guy, 18 hours working. Now you work for 8 to 10 hours on your passion, and also you're very much close to your family. You want to go away, with your family now. So it is a great transit. The only thing you got to be careful is when you are investing, the money, when you are investing the money with what, with real estate, with someone where you have given a check that, okay, I want to buy this plot, this is a construction linked plan, I'm paying the money. No, be very careful, because Rahu can give you losses here, right? Rahu can make you trust someone blindly for your own comfort, right? So be extremely careful about this. Moving on to another scenario here where we have Aquarius. Okay, for Aquarius Lagna. Okay, so it is here and it is going to be here. Okay, so it is Rahu is here and Ketu is here. It is a good transit, I must tell you. Gains, right? Prakram will increase 100%. New ventures, new startups, entrepreneurship, all these things are going to come your way. You are going to become spiritual. You are going to be pulled towards your gurus, fatherly figures, teachers. You will take suggestions from them and you will grow in this transit. Honestly speaking, if you have a good Rahu and Ketu, right, sitting in your kundli, this is a time for starting something new. You have a process in your mind, you have a project in your mind. This is the time to launch that project. You will do well because spirituality is behind you. Mother nature, guru, father, teacher, they all are behind you. So this is something that will happen with this particular transit. It is good, but be very careful when it comes to brothers and sisters. Okay, right? So we will have the last one, which is Pisces. Okay, for Pisces, okay, it is happening here and here. So Rahu is here and Ketu is here. Okay, now what happens here? Rahu is in the house of gains. First of all, your taste buds can go bad, right? If you can get involved in eating a lot of fast food and drinking and smoking and enjoying your asura life. And Ketu in the 8th house can suddenly pull you towards spirituality, Jyotish, occult sciences, research and development. This axis for this Pisces is a very difficult axis. Rahu is going to pull you towards the bhoga and Ketu is going to pull you towards the occult sciences. So you can become an astrologer who is also a bhogi, who is also enjoying his life along learning occult sciences. It is not a good idea. You have to choose one, right? You have to be either a bhogi or you got to be into occult sciences and spirituality. You have to maintain business, in a right balance. You can go away from, from in-laws. You can be detached from extended families, and you may become deceptive, or you may get a deception from relatives. Right? Be very careful. Be very, very careful. You would want to have a lot of money. You want to acquire a lot of money with this transit, right? Which is a good and a bad thing. So good thing if you do it in a very balanced way and if you do it slowly. But if you try to get everything quickly, a lot of money, then it will be a problematic situation. Be very careful in purchasing any fixed assets. Be very careful with your relatives. Be very careful with your diet, with what you eat, right? So ladies and gentlemen, this was my analysis on all the 12 signs and the rashis, right? And I hope you would have enjoyed it. So now I will give opportunity to Dr. Pooja to come up and tell, because she's prepared something based on medical astrology, right? So Dr. Pooja, it is all yours from here.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Hare Krishna.
It was a wonderful session by you. Lots of things got cleared, you know. So we are talking about Rahu and Ketu transit. Rahu will move from Kritika to Bharni to Ashwini in Aries. And in Kal Purusha only, it is your personality, your morphology. It is your physical and mental well-being. As Guruji has said, that it's your mind and it's your psychology, both, which will get affected here. And it depicts your nervous system, your spinal cord, that is your brain. So when Rahu will transit from Kritika to Bharni to Ashwini, Rahu is entering into the Kal Purusha head. Rahu will have effect on everyone's mind. Maybe for a few time, it can corrupt everyone's mind like a virus. Rahu can change the thought process. Rahu will take the native into the illusionary world. Kritika and Bharni, they are Adhomukhi Nakshatra, that is downward looking, whereas Rahu is upward looking. So basically there is a contrast of energy coming here, which will be difficult for some natives to manage it. So as you see that Bharni is representing the uterus or the womb and the sexuality. So when it is entering into the brain and spinal cord, and it is your basically the Mooladhara chakra, then you can see little sensations of libido, which is generating an impulse and reaching here in the head. So that impulse is a id impulse, which can convert into an ego. And in one of the lectures, Guruji told that ego is Rahu, because Rahu depicts the Vata or Vayu. So aap hawa mein udoge. Ego means Rahu hawa mein utne lagega, and because of that, Rahu being Chandala can give you basically give you sex scandals here. So you have to be very particular for this. If you maintain your Rahu energy, it can do the wonderful things. But being Rahu as a rule breaker, and Rahu gives you hypochondria, so overindulgence into sexual activity. So you have to be beware of this. But if Rahu is well placed, it can lead to great transformation from here. And if the native, suppose she is a gynecologist, let's say, she is into a medical profession as a gynecology, Rahu being the technology, she will use lots of technology. For example, in a process of delivery, she can use a C-section more during this period. She can underwent some technology in IVF, that is in vitro fertilization. There can be lots of research in microbiology also during this period. And during basically the transit, when we are talking, so now we'll talk about the transit of Ketu, because when we are talking about the transit of Rahu, then we'll talk about the Ketu now, how Ketu will move. It will transit from Vishaka to Swati to Chitra in Libra. And what is your seventh house? Seventh house in Kal Purusha is the house of partnership. It is the house of your spouse. It represents the Linga area. And that is the reproductive part. Amongst all the planets, if you see, then Ketu is ahead of all. That's why Ketu is holding the victory flag. And Libra sign is the sign of balance here. So basically, there can be a change of profession. Ketu is a mixed race. It is supernatural. It can give you some paranormal activity. And because being in Vishaka, Vishaka represents the V here, and there, this V, same kind of representation is there in our brain. There's a right and left hemisphere, which Ketu will affect actually. So it will be a mix of the logical and the creativity thing here. There can be great breakthrough innovations during this time if your Ketu is well placed. But one thing here that if you talk about, it is purest of all these nakshatra, Vishaka. And Vishaka can give addiction to Soma. And this Soma, as we can see, it can have a positive effect as well as a negative. Soma being positive is your mantras. So it can make you sattvic. And the negative effect of Soma is rajasic. So it can give you alcohol or smoking addiction actually. Ketu can give lots of obsession and addiction here. So when Ketu enters in Swati Nakshatra, Rahu will be the ruling planet there. And it has a beautiful astronomy because Swati has a single star. So it can, if your Ketu is well placed, it can liberate you, it can make you free, and it can make you independent. And because it's a self-going star, so it can take you it in any of the directions, and if it is well placed, it can make you reach the highest level of spirituality. Ketu will transit from Scorpio to Libra, that is Kalpurusha 8th house to the 7th basically, and 8th is related with the minerals. So you must have seen lots of mineral deficiency was there during the pandemic situation. So when it is coming into the 7th house, it will increase you can increase your vitamin and mineral. The deficiency will no longer, we have seen that the COVID situation has slowly settled down, and your immune system will also become stronger from here. So you can start working on the immune system. But if Ketu is not well placed, it can give you detachment because it represents the lingam area. So it can give you various different types of maybe miscarriage, or it can detach womb or uterus from your body. It can lead to certain kind of surgery related with the reproductive system. So here you have to be little cautious. And when I talk about Rahu Ketu transit in Cancer ascendant, Navneet sir has beautifully explained all the transition, but I have this transition in my chart. So just visualizing little bit, Rahu in 10th house can give you sudden profit. It can give you name, fame, and it can make good fortune, and it can make you good savings. And I am running my Rahu Mahadasha, so it can, I think, amplify more all this. So I can become a workaholic person, which I have already started, It will increase, it will enhance your face value. You'll be recognized in your work. And Ketu in 4th house you have to little bit take care of your mother, because there can be problems related with the mother, and there can be little clash of energy here. And Rahu Ketu transit, you have to take care of your emotions because it can affect your psychology. And to end up here, I will just end up in a little, which I have just, after listening Navneet sir, I have just summarized certain things. So I have just made a little model of the Kal Purusha I have tried, and it is going to affect your head, your lingam area, and because of that the entire body, because it is going to affect your psychology, and brain rules your entire body. So I can relate here with the Ayurveda, that in Ayurveda there is a concept of Ritu Sandhi. So when there is a change of season, so the same I am just manipulating with the transit, because there's a change in the transit. When there is a change in the season, you have to be careful. You have to immunize yourself, and Navneet sir has greatly immunized all the RVA, all Rudra Vedic Academy, because we have started a Sattvic movement on 1st January 2022. And now I can link Navneet sir's, like he has immunized us. Why? Because we are doing only two things. We are trying to become Sattvic, one thing. And second thing, he has asked to recite the mantras. Every day, the entire RVA team is reciting at least 2,100 mantras. So basically, he is immunizing us, so that the heat has already started for Rahu Ketu transit, but we can't feel. I think we all RVAs are well settled, and the heat has come in, but we are just facing it, that way. Why? Because during the transit, we always see whether the nakshatra is Adhomukha or Udrmukhi, actually. It's downward facing or upward. And whenever the transit is, when it is facing, the nakshatras are facing Urdhvamukhi, facing upward, the transit go in a balanced way. But here in the Rahu transit, but when Ashwini will come, Ashwini is straight looking, forward looking nakshatras. So then the situation will be okay, and we are already immunized. We don't have to be this thing. And Navneet sir has given us imagine a target of 18 months beforehand. And I was not, but now I can compare ki 18 months target he kyun diya tha sir ne. So that this Rahu Ketu transit we can face. in a proper and well organized manner. So this was my research work, sir, short.
Wonderful research, and I really, really appreciate the deep observations and insights you have. Thank you so much, Dr. Pooja. We always look up to you, whenever we need something motivating and encouraging. Thank you so much. And we'll have Rajuji coming from Mauritius now. So Rajuji, what are your insights on this transit? What is your research on this?
Hare Krishna, Guruji. So today I would just analyze a bit this transit of natal Saturn, so and see what the effects could be. So as we all know now that you mentioned before, so Rahu will move in Aries while Ketu will move in Libra on the 12th of April for the next 18 months. So let's see first what Rahu and Ketu signify. So Rahu mainly enhances the effects of planets sitting in any house and activate exponentially signification of that house as well, while Ketu wants detachment from signification of the house where it sits and the sign and the planet where it is sitting there. Now, Saturn, on the other hand, is the slowest moving planet in the solar system. It is a cold planet. It signifies hard work, discipline, delays, sorrows, obstacles, health challenges. It rules the natural 10th and 11th house, and it is very karma-related planet. People generally are very scared about Saturn, but if we see properly, Saturn can be a blessing at the same time, if we take it in a positive way. So I will start first with the transit of Rahu over Saturn. So if a native has Saturn sitting in the sign of Aries in his birth chart, depending on the house number where it is sitting, so during this transit of Rahu, native will definitely experience a new dynamic. Why is it so? Because while Saturn and Rahu are both of the air element, but Saturn has the slowest speed, while Rahu would appear to be like a twister within that area. So because it goes faster. Now, we must note also that Mars is the ruler of Aries, which is of a fire element, so not compatible with the air element of Rahu. So evidently, these conflicting energies in power may create frustration and some sudden change in someone's life as per house signification. So we might think it of this way, just to have a picture of how this can affect families. Let's say a family is living in a house, like father, mother, 2 teenage kids, and the grandfather is there. The grandfather acts like the Saturn, so everybody would be quiet, following rules, regulations, whereas suddenly a new cousin comes in, party goer, that is a Rahu. So it comes and creates the event. He wants to bring new things. So it changes the mood of the whole family. So it's a 2 different scenarios. So the same family, though they were respecting like the grandfather, suddenly now they will have to be excited to go with the other. So there would be some challenges from them, whether to respect the rules or to go with the new event that are coming. So also we should know that Saturn is in debilitation mode in Aries. So it does not give Saturn all its abilities to maintain constancy, hard work, and discipline as it would usually do. But when Rahu joins in, it boosts the power of Saturn from debilitation state, because Saturn and Rahu, they are friends at the same time. Aries, so as ruled by Mars, may be happy with this transit as it desires aggressive actions, okay? Now, which was not possible with Saturn position there. But we need to be careful that Rahu may desire to push the limits too much beyond control. And this Aries transit for Rahu may want native to work alone and set new trend as well in his life. And it can create some foreign connections, use of technology, Aries being self-ego, and new desires, new beginnings, etc. The age of the native is also to be considered to know the type of event that will come in his life, because if this transit happens in a student, of course, there would be changes that will happen at school level. It happens at the age of 30, it will be change in job, career, whereas at higher age, with a different change of lifestyle, maybe going to spirituality and all these things. But usually this transit is very karmic, with more signification to health, work, and profession of the person. There could be change in place of work, as we mentioned before, even change of profession completely. But the end result will depend on both the past and current karma of life. Thus, if native has done good deed in this life, also Rahu will enhance those positive signification of the house where the transit is taking place. After obviously an initial hard time that will happen, because we are talking of, Rahu and Saturn over here. Okay, Rahu being the rule breaker may push native to do undisciplinary actions, get addicted with smoking, alcohol, and that could be the trap actually. As you mentioned before, Rahu is also very illusionary. Okay, say someone has natal Saturn in the 10th house, as you mentioned before, definitely change of job, profession or career will occur. However, we need to remember that through Rahu gives new ideas and opportunity, but often it can be that illusion. So native need to evaluate properly any new venture before making of Aries impulsive energy given by Mars. Okay, and there maybe I can quote a little bit of something that, a parenthesis, that if Jupiter is well placed in the chart, so the person can always take advice from guru or any fatherly figure or any mentor. So they should make use of that before taking decision. So usually Saturn doesn't want changes, and it may slow, and being in debilitation, it will eventually take control of the house signification, though being in debilitation, because Rahu is sitting there, Saturn is sitting there, and Saturn takes time, but eventually he will take control of that house where it is sitting. Okay, and to maintain the pace and continuous hard work afterwards. Now we'll go to Rahu over Saturn in Libra now. Now, those having Saturn in Libra in the birth chart are concerned here. First of all, Saturn is exalted over here. Again, depending on house position of Venus, and position of Venus, the ruling planet of Libra, effects could be different, but generally it will be relations due to Libra, signification. And work matters due to Saturn, where break or sacrifices may be seen in the job, as Dr. Pooja mentioned also before. So, and in profession and also relationship, okay? But all these will be linked to relations mainly, because being posited in Libra, okay? So these changes could be of various causes. It can be health, it can be conflicts with government, it could be conflicts, litigation with employer, and it could be with colleagues, etc. That it will be at a sudden as well. If it is health, it can be also due to feet injuries, lower intestine, which Saturn signifies, among others. Ketu may also create unexpected events which may cause sadness to native, like, sometimes death in close family. But Saturn's presence will help to get used to it over time, Saturn being aware of its role in Libra. So spirituality will be favored by this Ketu's transit over Saturn. Therefore, we can say that Ketu transit over Saturn will want you to prioritize your needs and let go of important ones in your life. Okay. For example, if this transit is taking place in the 7th house, it can cause separation, as you mentioned before, from spouse, business partners, or any kind of deep relationship. Naturally, Libra is the 7th house of spouse and relationship, and Ketu comes in 9 years after Rahu, open doors. So Ketu will come and reassess and complete those openings and those ventures where some sacrifices will have to be made. Now, the best way to go is to anticipate those events. Do the mantras, as you said, you will give remedies later on for the concerned planets, and voluntarily create events that, instead of the universe giving it to us as a surprise, like, helping people who just lost their job, helping unprivileged people with their health situation, like going on a fasting, because otherwise, if the doctor diagnoses you with any kind of disease, suddenly he will ask you, sacrifice, don't eat this, don't eat that. But now, if you voluntarily go do that, this can help to have this transit to be more easier. And finally, Rahu rules the natural 8th house, and it will be beneficial for those in deep research and occult sciences. So those who want to start any of these things, so Ketu might help them with this. Ketu, thank you.
The Ketu rules the natural 8th house.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Ketu, sorry.
All right, well done. Thank you, Rajuji. And we have Siddharth ji here, from Mumbai. Siddharth ji, please let us know, enlighten us with your research.
Thank you, sir. So I will be talking specifically about, Rahu Ketu's transit. Of course, it's Aries and Libra, but when Mars is placed in that particular sign, so if I have to speak specifically about Mars in Aries in a Kalpurush Kundali, Mars is an own sign where it is very, very comfortable. And so if we have to understand Mars, it's about masculine energy, impulsive action, courage, bravery, self-confidence. And when Rahu is transiting, that's where there is, as we know that Rahu acts as a catalyst. So there will be a larger support from Rahu to kind of surface these energies furthermore. Okay. Rahu is also all about technology. It's about speculation, illusion. So if I have to speak about Kalpurush Kundali, it's all about new beginning. And when it is about new beginning, what I could understand with Rahu and Mars being together in Aries, it's about new changes in technology that will be able to, foresee. Because last 2 years, it has been due to pandemic and lockdown, we had restrictions, and what came or what bailed us out was completely technology. We had seen lots and lots of adoption of technology. However, now we'll see furthermore development in technology when it comes to AI, ML, virtual reality, and it will impact all our facades of our life. Also, when I see that, Ashwini, when Mars transits through, when Rahu transits through Ashwini Nakshatra, we could see a lot of, Ashwini brothers, like, they are the healers. We could see a lot of action or a lot of R&D in the medical field as well. That's what I could, talk about. Now I'll go to Ketu's transit over Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus. It's an air sign. And when it's all about, Libra is all about balance, harmony, and now Mars being placed there. Again, I'm talking specifically to the Kalpurush Kundali. Mars is somewhere not happy over there because they have a very different kind of a energy level. And that's where there I could see that there is kind of conflict. And in the Kalpurush Kundali, it's an house of, Libra is placed in the 7th house, and that's where the spouse and partnership comes. And Ketu's transit over there will actually surface the past life karmas. However, what I see is it's a great opportunity to have the past life karmic settlement done. This will lead to closures of, past lives, anything that has been a differences between you, your partner, so on and so forth. But also, as Ketu energy is all about healing, research and development, spiritual healing, detachment, not sticking to the societal structure. What I see is there is a great opportunity to kind of move into a new phase of life and explore healing. And when I'm talking about healing, astrology is also a science of healing, and it's a great opportunity for people to really think about how you could improve your own life through astrology and the people around you through astrology, as well as maybe help people around you. So broadly, again, now Swati nakshatra is ruled by Rahu. When Ketus and Rahu energy come together, that's where something new could happen, and it's something which will lead to a new phase of life for an individual. So in short, this is my analysis about transit of Rahu and Ketu in Aries and Libra, with Mars being in those
Fantastic. It was a
signs.
small and a crisp and to the
Sure.
point analysis. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now we have, the super gem of Rudra Vedic Academy, Nandita ji. And she's a great motivator to our RVA. And she really works hard on whatever topic. And, it is like that relay race, they begin and she ends. So Nandita ji, it is all yours, and we'll be very excited to, listen to you.
Thank you, Guruji. And it's always, my pleasure to do these things. I enjoy them very much. So I'm going to talk about some of these. I'm going to talk about the transits, and when you have other planets sitting in these houses that may be affected, or in the rashis that we're particularly talking about, which is Libra and Aries, right? Because that's where the transit is happening. So just generally, just to start off with, I just wanted to point out that, for the next 18 months, our focus is shifting. Our focus is shifting to the Aries Rashi and the Libra Rashi. Wherever that is in your chart, you need to pay attention. And generically speaking, Aries is, an aggressive Rashi. It's just like all the other peers of mine have mentioned, that all the characteristics, just generically speaking of Rashi, it's the place where new beginnings happen, right? The 3 nakshatras that are sitting in Aries, we're going to travel through that nakshatra during this transit, right? Which is going to be Kritika, Bharani, and Ashwini, and we're traveling backwards. And so you have energies of those nakshatras also playing into this whole move that we're making from the tail end of Taurus and into all of Aries. So just the energies will build up as we go through the next 18 months with whatever we need to address, with whatever house that these transits are happening, where the nodes are changing the signs. So you need to be well aware of the house properties where this is happening, as well as the properties of Aries and Libra. And if you are an avid astrologer, or you're a student that's learning, or you're just simply curious, pay attention to the nakshatras, because the nakshatras are going to tell you how you're going to react to the situations that are happening around you. And you've got very strong nakshatras that these, the transit is going to go through. Very, very strong. Kritika is very strong. Bharani is a very creative nakshatra. So when it's in Aries, right now you might be just cleaning your environment up. Kritika is taking out all the negativity wherever this sits in your chart, and sort of clearing a path to do something. And when you get to Bharani, you're going to create. You're going to create with this energy of Rahu. You will, ideas will formulate, and you will move on, to Ashwini, to literally give birth to something that is going to sustain itself. Okay. And if you look at the Trimurtis, right, we're talking about, Kritika, which belongs to Shiva. which basically you're clearing out, you're pulling out what's not necessary. There's a mini transformation that's happening right now as you go through Kritika, which is not too long now because it's going to switch over. But and then when you get into Bharani, it's Vishnu, right? And you're going to create and you're going to sustain. You're going to figure out how you're going to sustain your ideas, the new ideas that Rahu is implanting in you, right? Aries wants to create things. Aries wants to do things. It's doing it with aggression, right? So you're going to figure out how you're going to sustain that through as you move through the thing. And then Ashwini, you get to Ashwini, and then you are, in the belongs to Brahma, and then you're going to actually finally create and really materialize your ideas that you've come up with at the end of this transit. So if you could envision how the creation cycle works, you're kind of approaching it from backwards. You're clearing the negativity, you're going to give birth to an idea, and then you're going to be able to maintain that idea, end up with something sustainable. And when you look at Ketu, which is going through Libra, it's a little switched. You're starting off in a beautiful nakshatra, which is very spiritual, and Ketu is very happy because it's Vishaka, and Vishaka, Jupiter is very happy there, right? You're in the fourth pada, which belongs to Cancer. So it's, Ketu's very comfortable right now. And as it moves through, it's going to go into a little bit of a shock because the next nakshatra is Swati, which is Rahu. So then you're going to go through this turmoil, a little bit of push and pull, because Ketu is going to want you to pull away, just like Guruji said, that Ketu is going to, kind of make you look at this Venusian energy that's sitting in Libra, right? Of love and passion and luxury. And it's going to make you ask the question, right? Like there's going to be this back and forth. Right now, Ketu is slowly transitioning from Vishaka, then it's going to get hit by Swati, which is going to be Rahu, right? So then it's like this question, you're going to doubt yourself. Like, am I doing the right thing? Do I really want spiritual path? I mean, Vishaka is asking you to choose. Vishaka, by nature, the nakshatra is the fork, right? Choose a path. Which way are you going, right? And if you look at Libra and the Kalpurush, right? It is the sunset. It is time. It's setting in your life. And what is our Shastra tell us? That as the sun is setting in your life, it's time now to move towards spiritualism. So Vishaka is ideally placed for you to then pick a path for the latter part of your life to be more spiritual, right? So there is this conflict that's happening. And if you're on the spiritual path and you're at the right age, this is a perfect transit for you to transition from your materialistic world and start your journey into the spiritual world. And it's beautiful because you will come out with a thought that Vishaka gives you. You will figure out a way to sustain that spiritualism that's developing in you. And then, you'll move forward. At the end of this transit, it will transform you. So if you're on a spiritual path, I think it's beautiful, this transit that's happening in the nakshatras that it's going through, because it will change your life. Right. And if you're lucky enough to go through Ketu Dasha or whatever, or any planet's Dasha that's sitting in the nakshatra that activates Rahu or Ketu axis, it's beautiful, because it will help you get there, because it will be overemphasized in the right areas. But Rahu in Aries, beautiful, because you're giving birth to new ideas related, to wherever the placement is. You should be very careful and vigilant about the integrity of Mars, because it is in Aries. It's the Lord of that Rashi. So depending on your chart, spend some time understanding how Mars is behaving in your chart, because it will allow you to see if this transit is going to be fruitful for you or lead you down a path which will allow you to take shortcuts simply because you want to initiate something, simply because Rahu's planting bad ideas in your head. And, you know, the experience could be very, very difficult at the end of the day. It could be a very negative, and if Mars is placed positively, it could be a beautiful experience, and you may gain a lot of different things in your life, whether it's your self-confidence, whether it's business, whether it's spiritualism. The placement of Mars is very, very important. And similarly, Ketu going through Libra, you need to really, really understand Libra. Libra is about relationships. Libra is about partnerships, right? Of any kind. You know, intimate relationship or business relationship, relationships with your mothers, your parents, anyone. So this could be tough because you have Libra, who's all about luxury, who's all about, you know, love and enjoying life. It's a very true Venusian energy sitting here. And then here comes Ketu, who's basically going to say, we don't need all this. We don't need any of this. So you need to downsize. You need to simplify your life. You need to move forward and, you know, make choices when it comes to your relationship, not for having fun and enjoying life, but are they fulfilling your spiritual growth? Are they spiritual relationships? Someone that you emotionally connect with, someone that you bond with, not just physical casual relationships. And Ketu will, at the end of the day, wherever it sits, it clears out that house, right? So if there's any negativity that you're not ready to let go, it will take it away. It will force it and it will take it away, and it will be sudden and it will be painful and you'll be blindsided, but it will do it because Ketu's whole purpose, again, in life is for you, for it to do things, whether it does it in a nice way or in a harsh way, is to propel you in your spiritual path. Okay, so that's just basically general things that I kind of wanted to just share. But as we go and talk about Rahu's transit in Aries over a particular planet, and I'm going to talk about 4 planets. So the first one we're going to talk about is Venus. Rahu in Aries and Venus. Okay, this could be an amazing experience. Okay, if Venus is placed properly, it could be absolutely very fruitful. Rahu and Venus are friends. Rahu wants all kinds of materialistic things and wants to give you all of it. And Venus cherishes that, right? Venus by nature wants all the luxuries. So they're absolutely happy to be together. Okay. And then you have Aries. It's sitting in Aries. Aries is like, yeah, let's go do it. Let's go do it. How do we do it? How do we get more money? So if you are on the right path and you leverage, you know, the energy between Rahu and Ketu, you can literally at the end of this transit can have a lot of material gains. Okay, you could have given birth to new businesses as well as new relationships, because Venus is there. Venus will want to give you that part of that part of the characteristic that Venus brings, right? So you can have a wonderful relationship, lots of gains in your wealth, as well as all the other desires that you might have. And Mars will make sure that it works hard for you to attain that. The only bad thing is that if this thing goes negative, if Mars is not placed properly or Venus is not placed properly, you could take shortcuts in gaining your desires. Mars can get very aggressive. And you could end up in relationships that are just absolutely bad for you down the road. Making bad choices, you know, or being in bad businesses that at the end of the day will not be fruitful. Okay, so, and then looking on the flip side, if Venus is sitting with Ketu in Libra, this is not so comfortable. Because again, going back to what I just said, you know, it's time to simplify your life. Ketu is going to say, we don't need all this stuff. This is access. You need to simplify your life. Ketu will also require you to look at your relationships. Relationships that are having issues will, it's make it or break it time. Either you fix it or you walk away. It will force you, because Ketu will just say, no, this is not working. Either you address it, address the past life issues, any karma related to this, resolve it, move on, and then figure out what's next. Ketu will also, you know, if there's a planet like Venus, it could be, it doesn't always have to be a partner. It could be, Venus is a woman. So it could be a relationship with maybe a friend that you have, a woman in your life that's of significance. Maybe there's some karma related to that. So then Ketu is just basically dredging up your past karma and saying, okay, something was not resolved properly and you need to address it. And in this case, it could be with a woman.
You know, so I've got Rahu and Venus in my chart, and that woman is my daughter. You know,
Yeah.
so it could be anyone. So very well said. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, keep that in mind, that I know when we think of Libra, we just think of like, you know, intimate relationship partnerships, but it could be anyone. So the next planet that I want to talk about is Mercury. I'm talking about Venus and Mercury because I have them, and this is what's going to happen in my chart. And I'm a Scorpio. So yeah, it's really hitting, you know, pretty aggressively. So Mercury and Rahu together, friends, they like being each other. Mercury is, you know, that analytical, wants to do business. Rahu's like, yeah, let's go, let's blow our, you know, blow our business out, all our efforts out, communication, you know, your personality, because what's going to happen is the way you communicate, you're going to be dynamic, you're going to be influential during this period, because Mercury allows you to really, you know, present yourself in a way that allows you to portray a part of your personality, which really shows your intelligence, right? And Rahu is going to make you extremely wealthy in that area, right? So business intelligence, all-time high. So again, looking at Mercury in your birth chart, and if it's well placed, right, is very important. Because if it's not well placed, it's going to make you calculative, secretive, dishonest, manipulative. Because why? Because Rahu says we need to have all these things, right? We want to do all these things. But if Mercury doesn't do things dharmically, then you're going to go down a path and do it in a negative way. So that's the thing that you need to watch for. And you can become extremely cutting during this process, right? Because Mercury will, if it's not placed, then you have problems. As far as Ketu is concerned, and Libra, and then Mercury being there, this is what I have, and this could be very challenging. It's a struggle because Ketu is idealistic. Ketu is spontaneous, you know, wants to make quick decisions and do quick things, right? Ketu doesn't, you know, will cut things off if it's not right or wrong. Whereas Mercury is analytical, you know, wants to calculate things, wants to figure out 10 steps ahead. So this could result in sort of like stagnation, where in a lot of confusion, you're not sure if you should make a decision or not make a decision. And it creates this inner turmoil. Whichever house it's sitting in, it could be a decision about your mother, it could be a decision about your work, it could be a decision about, you know, it's sitting in the first house, you know, you're trying to figure out, you know, who you are, you're finding your new personality, like who do you want to be, you know. So Mercury, Ketu, Venusian or in Libra could be absolutely a struggle. And you may find yourself that, you know, you could make wrong decisions because you're so confused. So you know, if you don't have to make such big decisions in your life, avoid them. Wait till this kind of passes. Again, when you go through Swati Nakshatra, which is a Rahu Nakshatra, it's going to cause even extra confusion because you've got Ketu and then you've got Ketu sitting in Rahu's Nakshatra. So that could also be very, very difficult. So moving on to talking about, you know, what happens when you have Aries and you have Ketu, Rahu transiting through Aries, and then you have your sun sitting there. So what happens now? So this is interesting because you have Mars, which is fire energy. You have Sun, which is a different kind of fire energy, and you have Rahu, which is air energy. So these three combinations, you know, it's difficult. First of all, Rahu eclipses Sun. It's a little bit better than Ketu Sun combination. Rahu eclipsing the Sun, it's almost like an identity crisis, a identity that you portray to the world, right? And Rahu is going to give you this. If you think about the sun is your confidence, your ego, right? Your father, your government, all of that stuff that we associate with the sun. So when we talk about this combination, Rahu's going to want to give you inflated ego, right? It's going to give you lots of fame and lots of success in your life. You could have great success in the government sector. You can have a great success with your father. Maybe you rebuild your relationship with your father. If it's all placed properly in a positive, all three of these planets, Mars, Sun, and Rahu, then you can have an extremely positive outcome. Okay. The negative side to this is if that Rahu is not in the best house scenario, where it's not in if it's in an MKS, for example, right? What can this do? Rahu's going to start acting like Saturn and it's going to start restricting you. So you have this aggressive energy of your ego wanting to do things, gaining success, and wanting to conquer the world, and you're not going to be able to. Your confidence is going to be shattered because Saturn will restrict you, because Rahu will act like Saturn, and then you'll question yourself. You could make mistakes because of that. And because Sun and ego and your fame is associated with this planet, you can come out of this transit with scandals or losing your reputation if you make mistakes. Right? So, you know, the best way to come out of this is really, this position here with Sun being there is really learn to balance the Rahu Ketu axis in this case, because if you strike a balance, all of the fame and success that you achieve during this transit, you'll be able to sustain it and keep it. If you don't strike a balance and it's imbalanced because you're insatiably chasing your success and wanting more and more, then yes, the transit will give you all the success, but by the end of the transit, you'll also lose it with a scandal or something. Okay, so something to really watch for if your sun is sitting in Aries when Rahu gets there, right? And then Ketu and Libra and Sun, what happens here? This is difficult because Ketu does not want to be told what to do. And what is Sun? Sun represents authority, government, father, you know, anyone at work, you know, your bosses, right? So what's happening here? You find it extremely, first of all, difficult at work because you do not like being told by your superiors what to do. Okay, this transit, when it comes to work, it becomes difficult because you as a person, Sun and Ketu combination is going to give you that conflict. You also have to deal with a lot of paternal issues from the past, right? Sun and Ketu combination together is asking you to address any past relationship issues with your father, your grandfather, right? Stepfather, because it's not biological, it's a father figure in your life, right? So any issues related to that. So addressing the past issues become a key in this thing. You also may feel like with all the efforts that you put in, that maybe your boss or your father is not acknowledging the effort, the work that you're doing. So you feel sort of, not appreciated during this. You don't feel like you're recognized for what you do. Okay. And this is also one of those placements where you have to, because Sun and Ketu are together and Sun is represented by your father, you have to watch for your father's health. Make sure that, you have a close eye on it. And Ketu, who's a rebellious rebellious planet, or energy, whatever, school of thought you take, you may find yourself that you're just, without having strong beliefs, that you kind of get into the situations where you're protesting against any type of authority, whether it be government, at work, or whatever. You kind of take on these agendas where you're just rebelling for the sake of rebelling sometimes. Okay, so that's the Sun placement in Rahu and Ketu axis. What happens when you have Jupiter? So that's my fourth planet that I'm going to talk about. So Jupiter in Aries, it's great because Rahu's there, right? Jupiter wants to give you everything, right? Jupiter's like, yep, you did great. Take. I want to give you. That's what Jupiter does. Then you have Rahu. Rahu's like, this is great. Rahu can't be more happy, because when it comes to wealth creation, this is a really good placement and combination, right? Because Jupiter is abundance and Rahu amplifies that energy. And in Aries, the creation of wealth is rapidly done because it's Aries and you have Mars. You're going to put all your efforts. You're going to be out there, total aggression in doing and achieving wealth. On the flip side, on the very negative side, this could be a problem. You could have issues with your gurus. You could, Guruji mentioned this, you could question your guru, or you simply find a guru that's really not right, who's not really spiritual. And it's, I think Guruji has a word for it and I can't remember. He uses it many times in his videos, those fake gurus, and you are unable to see that, right? So that creating a bad combination there. Rahu could also take you to foreign lands here, or you can meet actually your guru in a foreign land. Or this also could be a time where you, sort of start looking at foreign religion or new philosophies, right? Because Jupiter is there and Rahu is there. Jupiter also is going to give you wisdom. Jupiter is not just about wealth, right? It's about wisdom and spiritualism. So there's that aspect of that as well there. And Rahu being there is the foreigner. So you can find yourself that, maybe you're Christian and you're starting to look at Hinduism, or you're Hinduism and you're starting to look at Buddhism. So, or new philosophies in spiritualism, right? It's not always about religion. So the pluses and the minus there of this transit with Jupiter's presence, right? And then on the Ketu side, when Jupiter, also I want to find, going back to Rahu, Aries, and Jupiter placement, if you're a woman, this could be a time where you actually meet a partner, because Jupiter is represented by, is your spouse, right? Is your husband. So you could actually find a foreigner that you get married to or attracted to. Okay, so there is that possibility there as well. Or you could actually even have a son. Like if you're pregnant, there's more a good chance of you actually having a son, a boy. So I think that's all I want to say about about Jupiter and Rahu. But then Jupiter and Ketu combination in Libra. This is a tough one because this is happening in Libra, right? The sign that deals with relationship. And Ketu and Jupiter can make you reject your partner. Okay. And for women, especially, this transit can create a distance because, again, Jupiter represents husband. So rejection of your husband or your partner can be felt very heavily here. And you need to carefully address these feelings because you could, because of Ketu's presence there, you may decide that you want to end this relationship and regret it, because Ketu is very idealistic, and that rejection comes from being very idealistic. And Jupiter being there, it is talking about your partner relationship, right? So that could be very, very, detrimental. And in a man's kundli, this could also bring up past issues with your son, right? Because it is that Ketu's past and Jupiter represents also children. So especially a male child. So in a man's, in a father's chart, if this combination is happening in a man's kundli, this could also be bringing up issues with your son that you need to resolve from past life. Okay. And lastly, you could also find yourself detaching from your guru, because Jupiter is guru, or breaking away from a traditional belief, and adapting something new, a new philosophy, a new religion. So, placements of these planets that we talked about, Sun, Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, it's very common that when these nodes change, there are other planets sitting there. And just keep in mind that the integrity of the planet that's sitting with Rahu or Ketu is so important. And check the integrity by, are they placed in an MKS house or a position, or are they exalted? How are they going to, what kind of energy will they bring? Was it positive energy, or is it going to be a negative energy? And then, in a year, Libra is going to be aspected by Saturn. So there's going to be some restriction, like exactly in a year after it makes this transit, right? Saturn's going to be looking, because Saturn's going to move and is going to look right at Libra. So that's going to change the energy, right? So, I'm sure we'll do another video how that's going to affect it. But the energy for the first year is going to be, kind of just the axis and whatever planet that you have sitting with the axis in whichever house that you're dealing with.
Great, fantastic. So great.
So sorry, it was so long, but
yeah, no, that's okay. That has to be long, but it was fantastic. And yeah, thank you, Nandita ji. And now coming to the remedies, just 2 remedies I would give it here. First remedy is start your day with 20 minutes of chanting of a simple mantra. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. That's it. So you can chant this for 20-25 minutes. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. That is one. Second, every evening after the sunset, you should do Durga Stuti or Durga Devi Aradhana. Just go to a guru, right, and find out a mantra of Mahakali or Ma Saraswati or Ma Lakshmi, which is applicable in your chart. A good astrologer or a guru will definitely guide you on that. So Durga Devi mantras, Durga Savrupas, Devi Savrupas, Mahavidya. So these mantras will really help you in this transit, right? So these are 2 simple remedies and they have miraculous results. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is all about a Rahu Ketu transit from the RVA team. Thank you, Nandita ji, Raju ji, Pooja ji, and Siddharth ji. You guys have done a great job, great research. We'll come up with more videos. Till then, Hare Krishna. Do subscribe to our channel and just leave your comments. Thank you.